Well, guys, let's go from football and cash to football and cash just further west. We're talking about the Colorado Buffaloes, who suddenly are poised to maybe return to the Big 12. I take you to athletic director Rick George's quote when he said, "We're members of the Pac 12. We're proud members of the Pac 12, and we've got to see where our media rights deal lands and where our conference goes." End quote. Later, he said, quote, "In a perfect world, we'd love to be in the Pac 12, but we also have to do what's right for Colorado at the end of the day. We'll evaluate things as we move forward." Guys, if I can summarize that, it's we love the Pac-12 and we're a part of the Pac-12 until we no longer love the Pac-12 or are a part of the Pac-12. Um, it a lot of words that were said and not a lot of meaning that came out of that. Which is this is talking season, right? Like Rick George falls squarely in kind of fine form here for the beginning of June.
If I said that exact same thing to my wife, she would go ballistic. If I was like, "Look, I'm a part of this marriage, and I love being a part of this marriage, and in an ideal world, I'm still a part of this marriage, but I just got to do what's best for me at the end of the
But I
Sure,
day."
got to see what
Like,
paycheck you're gonna bring home next week.
but if you don't land this media rights
that's
deal,
You don't
then
right.
get
I'm
that
not going to stay a
promotion.
part of this marriage. I mean, it's a little bit ridiculous. We've talked about how, again, talking season. It just seems like a lot of the talk and a lot of the conversation coming out of the Pac-12 this year has been a little bit ridiculous. And obviously, we've had some very successful Pac-12 videos on our YouTube channel, so it seems like people like to hear about this and talk about the drama. I think we're still waiting for what the Arizona guy said. Arizona said that the
Yep,
the media deal was coming very soon, and I
that
guess we're
was months
still
ago.
waiting on that. That was a while ago. I'd have to go back and check, but we made that video a while back, before the draft at the
It's
very
coming,
least.
guys. Don't worry.
It's coming, guys, very soon. So I don't know, man. Maybe it's talking season. I'm also curious about this from a Colorado perspective. Like I know they just hired Dion, and now they think that they're like champions of the world and like the new Alabama. But if we're being honest, they're still Colorado until they do something on the field, and they haven't proven anything. I guess you can kind of buy some Colorado futures right now, but there's not a whole lot that Colorado can sell from their actual success on the field the last several years. So I don't know why they're getting all high and mighty like they carry a massive brand with them. Yes, probably some teams would like to expand and take them away from their conference, but I don't really know why they think that they're in the position they are in.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Once USC and UCLA leave, they will have the most recent football national championship in that conference. Correct?
I believe that's
That might say
true.
more about the conference than
Well,
Colorado,
listen. Yeah,
though.
no, not debating that, but that's where that kind of impetus is coming from. Guys, is this just going to
Right.
boil down to whether or not several members of the Colorado Board of Regents know what the CW is when all this is said and
It
done?
might.
Because if they get that contract, the CW, no, that doesn't make.
What's the
What is that?
CW?
I don't have no idea what that is, and their kids can't explain it because no kids watch cable TV anymore. That's
Yeah.
going to
Yep.
cause them to go to the Big 12, maybe. I don't know, but I think it's a smart move for any of these schools that have an option to be
Sure.
looking around because, as we've been fond of saying, the ship is sinking. The SS Kleovkov, as Mitch has loved to
It's
say.
going down.
I think Stanford, Cal, Washington State are they the fiddlers that are just going to play until it completely goes down?
Yeah.
Because
Right.
Well,
Yeah. They've got
I mean,
the cellos and the deck chairs.
yeah,
I was gonna say we can't seem to stay away from Pirates of the Caribbean references, so let's go ahead and throw another Jack Sparrow where Kleovkov has to be looking at the Big 12 right now and shouting, "Stop blowing holes in my ship!"
it's a, it's a great point. So with that, right? Colorado, reportedly, according to the Athletic, number of other places, there is Big 12 buzz where Brett Yormark, the and I'm blanking on
commissioner.
his name, not commissioner of the Big 12, thank you, has had an eye towards expansion, right? He wants to come in. He's shaken the tree for all that it's worth. And now he
And
wants
more than
to
just
maybe,
football too. He's going after Gonzaga and basketball.
right.
He's
He's,
UConn
and
possibly.
if you read Brett's comments, he actually talks more about basketball than he does football
Which I
because
think
he
is really
sees,
smart for the Big 12.
yes, he sees that as a chance to make the Big 12 a perennial championship contender in more than just football, right? I mean, let's be honest. You're probably not competing for national championships on a very consistent basis once Texas and Oklahoma leave, right? Those are your two biggest guns. Now you've got other programs that are plucky. TCU obviously just played for a national championship. So you've got darts to throw at the board, but as far as blue chip programs who consistently will be ranked in the top 5, the top 10 of the FBI, that are recruiting 5-star talent year in, year out, they're kind of losing that for football. Not the case for basketball, right? They kind of run the country right now, top to bottom in basketball. They've got a very strong baseball program as well. So I like the idea of more national expansion, thinking beyond just football, which is interesting when you think of Colorado, because by my count, Colorado would be a solely football focused move, really just kind of ping ponging off this hype from Deion and from what they've been able to do in the transfer portal. Am I right there?
Well, you also have to think about what's out there. Like, there's not a whole lot of teams looking to jump, at least from like big conferences, big name programs. It's not like the Big 12 can go right now and say, hey, Nebraska, Ohio State, anybody willing to jump ship, come join the Big 12? It's not really going to happen there. So you do have to kind of look around and say what programs would be willing to make the jump up. To some degree, that's kind of what happened with, this group that's coming in from the AAC with, Cincy and all them. Like there's to some degree, it's just the fact that they wanted to jump to the Power 5 level. They realized their opportunity. And from a Big 12 perspective, maybe those teams aren't massive national brands, but they're competitive. They've been pretty solid. They have good fan bases. And so maybe you see some kind of future like, we'll drag you up with us. I'm curious from the Big 12's perspective, what you were just saying about losing those big powers there. I'm curious to see who comes out on top. Somebody has to fill the vacuum. It's not like they're all going to stay at this level. And I think to a certain degree, recruits and other players like that, they're going to notice that, hey, someone's going to rise to the top and there's going to be a path to a playoff for me. And I was just talking about exposure. That's exposure right there. Go get on a playoff game. That's going to be exposure. 12 teams plus, the fact that you're not going to have these big brands like Texas and Oklahoma in your way. Does that open a door for TCU or Baylor or, Oklahoma State or, some of these other teams that could be looking? Texas Tech, we're all pretty high on with what Joey Mack's doing. There's a real chance for some of these teams to maybe say, I'll be the next team up. I'll kind of dominate the region in terms of recruiting and all that. And I don't think that that's Colorado, but I mean, heck, it could be. Deion could be, the next, walking on water savior of a college football program. So he could be that guy, and maybe a little bit of hype and some good players. You could be looking up in a couple of years and Colorado's running that conference, making yearly playoff appearances.
Well, and we're less than 30 years away from, or I guess a little bit over 30 now, but less than 40 years removed from Colorado being a major national player on the whole scene. So we've seen it before. They have a massive, very passionate fan base that has not had a lot to get excited about. They're already less than 1 year into the Deion Sanders tenure. They are already extremely motivated and excited to, support the program in ways that they need to be relevant again. I think it's very mutually beneficial for both Colorado and the Pac-12. Colorado is a massive media market. You talk about the media markets that are realistic for the Big 12 to capture. Denver is, if not number one, it's in the top 3 probably in terms of realistic media markets. Colorado's a big state with a lot of television sets and eyeballs, streaming potential customers whenever we start to go down that road. And there's way more historic rivalries for Colorado in the Big 12 when you look at the old Big 8. Let's not forget, too, that Colorado kind of went at it alone in the Pac-12. They were originally supposed to be, I don't want to get too deep in the weeds of realignment history 101, but if you jump back to like 2010 era, Texas was trying to orchestrate 6 Big 12 schools, including Colorado, moving to the Pac-12 pretty much without telling any of the other schools that they're involved in this. So when that blew up, Colorado decides to go at it alone. It was a good decision for them at the time because the Big 12 was anything but stable in 2010 to 2012. So It was a great decision for Colorado. And now they find themselves right in the same decision. And I think that the history tells us that they probably will do what's in best interest for them. To me, that's going to the Big 12 as it stands right now.
Gracious him. How about that?